Okay, so function attributes are just things about our functions. We are going to look at 4 different types of attributes for functions. We are going to be looking at finding specific values. We already did that yesterday in 4.4. We are going to look at when our graphs are increasing and decreasing. That is new. We are going to look at x and y intercepts. That is new. And we are going to look at maximums and minimums, which we already did in 4.4. So you guys have already learned how to do 2 of the 4 things that we're doing today. So we are going to focus in on the 2 new ones, review the 2 old ones that we learned Tuesday in 4.4. We're going to go through one thing at a time. So the first thing that we are going to look at is we are going to look at finding f of x equals values. So we are going to look at evaluating functions at certain values. So how we do that is we locate the x value, then we identify the y value. So we're going to go through and we're going to do that on all 3 of our examples, and then we'll come back and do another thing. So moving down here, I've got f of -5 and f of -1. This graph, and I realized this after I printed 130 of these, is a little off, so I'm going to tell you, and we're going to mark a dot. The ones on your assignment aren't off at all. So f of -5, we're going to go on our x-axis to -5, and we're going to go ahead and just call that 0. So it's kind of between 0 and -1. We're just going to call it 0. So f of -5 there is 0. F of -1, we also go on our x-axis to -1. And that one's right on 0. So f of -1, also 0. Thank you. She's not here. If she shows up, I'll send her. Okay, so we go to our x-axis. We find our corresponding y value. Go ahead and flip this over. We're going to do that step on all of our examples. So the next one, we've got f of 6. So that means we need to go on our x-axis to 6, find our corresponding y value. What is my y value there? Say it, Phoebe, you're right. 1. So f of 6 equals 1. Okay, f of 4. We go on our x-axis to 4. We find our corresponding y value. Our corresponding y value there is 0. Okay, the last one. We've got our absolute value graph, these V-shaped graphs. Put your computer away, please. Just put it away. You don't need it right now. F of 5 and f of -2. So f of 5, we're going to go on our x-axis to 5. Find our corresponding y value. It is up here at 4. And then f of -2, we go on our x-axis to -2. Go up to our graph. Our graph is at 7. Come grab a note sheet, and then we also got new seats. You are, where did I set those? 2 chairs up from where you just set your stuff down. So you're on that row, just in that open one between Gavin and Dulce there. Okay. Any questions about evaluating functions at certain values? Hey, flip this over then. Let's go back and let's talk about increasing and decreasing. Actually, Mia, you had a pass that came for you. Sorry, I just saw that and remembered it. Okay, so increasing and decreasing is probably the most challenging part of today. I'm telling you that, I think it's e-office. I'm telling you guys that so you can lock in, focus, ask questions now, and understand this one thing. Everything else is pretty straightforward. I'm going to give you some strategies that are going to help you. So increasing is when y values increase when reading left to right. Decreasing is when our y values are decreasing when reading left to right. So the key there is we always have to go left to right. We're going to start on the left side of our graph. We're going to go to the right. We're either going to be going up and then down. We could start going down and then up. Or some graphs are always going up or always going down. In Algebra 2 in the future, you might have graphs that go up and then down and then back up. Or back and forth. Or other random things. For right now, we're just going to go up and then down or down and then up. You have to start on the left, though, and read to the right. So, going down to look at our first graph, we are going to follow the line of the graph. So we start on the left. Am I going up or down right now? Up, 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 up. Then I get to the top. Now what am I doing? Down, 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 down. Okay? So, I am going to draw a vertical line at the point where I switch. You want to take some notes on here as to where you're getting these numbers from. And I am going to write down the x-coordinate of where I switch there. So my switching point happens at -3. The next thing that I'm going to do is I am going to label -infinity and positive infinity on my x's. So I'm going to write down -infinity right here, and I'm going to write down positive infinity right here. That's just going to help me know that left to right is negative to positive. Okay. And then from there, I'm going to remember, we already told me, I'm going up, 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 down, 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 down. So I am increasing here, and then I'm decreasing here. So that is all of our answers. Now we just need to put it on the blank. So what that means is from -infinity to -3, I'm increasing. And then from -3 to positive infinity, I'm decreasing. So over here on my blanks, from -infinity to -3, I am increasing. From -3 to positive infinity, I am decreasing. We do not care how high or low we are. We care whether we're going up or down. So it's always going to be -infinity on the left and positive infinity on the right. Because we're always reading from left to right. Any questions on that? Hey, let's go look at the two on the back then. Hey, left to right. What is my graph doing? Up, 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 up the entire time. So this is still left to right, -infinity to positive infinity. I am increasing that entire time, -infinity to positive infinity. I am never decreasing. Mark off those lines. Don't just leave them blank, mark them off so I can acknowledge that you understand that you're never decreasing and that you didn't just skip that question. Hey. Sorry. I don't know what I'm choking on. Last one. Okay. As we read from left to right, let me turn it back. As we read from left to right, what am I doing here? Decreasing, and then I stop, and then I start increasing. So I'm going down and then up. Any questions about that? So I'm going to draw a vertical line here. Where is that vertical line? 3. It's at x equals 3. I'm going to go ahead and label here -infinity and positive infinity to help myself out. And we just talked about how I'm decreasing and then increasing. So I am decreasing from negative infinity to 3. And I am increasing from 3 to positive infinity. Groovy. Any questions on that guy? Alright, let's go do maxes and mins next. I just realized I switched those on the examples. So the next thing we're going to do is maxes and mins, and that's one that we already know how to do. So maximums are our highest y values, minimums are our lowest y value. For our problems today, we're going to either have one, the other, or neither. We'll never have both. So for this one, it's always going to be at that switching point. Do we have a high point or a low point here? High point, okay. Is that a maximum or a minimum? Maximum. So we have a maximum value at y equals 3. And we do not have a minimum value on this one, so mark it off. Anytime you don't have something, mark it off so we know whether you are acknowledging you don't have it or you are skipping it. So mark it off if you don't have it. You gotta put a line or write NA. Alright. If we remember back to Tuesday, our straight lines, our linear functions, did they have maxes or mins? No, because there's no high point, there's no low points. So it does not have a max or a min. This one ends up being a lot less work. We've marked off like 3 of the 5 things so far. Okay. This very last one, point up if it has a maximum, point down if it has a minimum. Point up or down. Okay, I agree. It has a minimum. So this one has a minimum. Hold up your fingers. What is my minimum at? Okay, we want the y value of our minimum. So I see some 2s and I see some 3s. We want the y value of our minimum. Our y value is 2. So our minimum value is y equals 2. We do not have a maximum value. Alright, very last thing is x-intercepts and y-intercepts. X-intercepts and y-intercepts are new, but they're super easy if you can remember which one's your x-intercept or your x-axis and which one's your y-axis. And they're labeled on your graphs, so like they're super easy if you can read. You get one more color of pen, orange. Alright, so x-intercepts and y-intercepts. X-intercepts are points at which you cross the x-axis. Y-intercepts are points at which you cross, crazy, the y-axis, okay? So where do we cross the x-axis? Where do we cross the y-axis? So moving down here, I have y-intercepts listed first here. So this is my y-axis, and I'm going to go see if I cross it anywhere. It looks like I cross it right here at -4. So we're going to write that down, and that's literally it. Okay, for our x-intercept, we are going to look at the x-axis. I cross my x-axis here and here. So those are going to be my 2 points. So I'm going to write down -5 and -1. So sometimes you'll have more than one. Okay, flip this over. For our y-intercept, we're going to look at our y-axis. Where do we cross our y-axis here? -3. Thank you, Dulce. I've got all day. -3 is where we cross our y-axis. And then we cross our x-axis. Somebody other than Dulce, where do we cross our x-axis? Somebody said it? 4. Okay. Right there at 4. Hey. And then we've got one last problem. We do y-intercepts and x-intercepts for. This one down here. Our y-intercepts, we cross up here at 5. Where do we cross the x-axis? You don't. So it comes down, it never gets that far down, and then goes back up. You never cross the y or the x-axis here. So you just mark that off. Again, anytime you don't have something, mark it off. Don't just leave it blank. Mark it off. Hey, questions, concerns, emotions, thoughts right now? All right, go ahead and glue your notes into your notebook, and I'm going to get you started on your next thing then. I'm going to stop this video.